I don't think we're overwhelmed by information, rather, we're overwhelmed by unfinished thoughts. A few weeks ago, I noticed something, and it's kind of strange, like within 10 minutes, I have gone from watching a reel that was talking about how anime men should be having long hairs like Zuko, Jinshi, or Geto, to learning about which philosophical ideas were niche, and then how was like the 2022's World Cup opening was way better than that of 2026, extending to how micro trends are ruining personal style. And all of it happened within a 10-minute time span. None of it felt unusual. That's just what it looks like being online nowadays. But what bothered me wasn't how different those topics were, or they were unrelated or not. It was how quickly I abandoned the previous idea. Like, I didn't even sit to think about what I just watched. I didn't give myself the time to process the previous one. Before I could think of the first thing that I watched, the second one arrived. Before I could question the second thing, the third one arrived. Before I could decide what I thought about that reel or that post, I was already somewhere else. And the more I paid attention to this pattern, the more I started wondering, like, whether we're facing a problem that no one talks about. Like, it's probably not information overload, not short attention spans, or like maybe something else. Aren't we like consuming more ideas than we're capable of finishing? And we've been doing it for a very long time, like 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, since the time reels or short form content has appeared in our arena. Think about how an idea enters your life now. Like, you hear something interesting, maybe it's a perspective on friendship, or like a historical fact that were pushed as an agenda, or maybe it's an argument about technology, like why you shouldn't be getting the new iPhones. Maybe it's a sentence that completely changes the way you see something. For a moment, it feels really important, right? We like save it, like it, then like another opinion appears. Another recommendation shows up that we cannot be missing at all. And suddenly the first idea has competition. Not because it was weak, because everything is genuinely constantly competing now. And my brain is kind of exhausted to like prioritize the similar content. What I've noticed is that like internet has really solved the problem of accessibility, but like I think it may have created a new problem. Nothing literally gets to stay. Like, ideas arrive, impress us, and they leave before they've had the chance to settle in. What's disappearing, I feel like, is not information. It's kind of like incubation, right? Like, are we even getting the time to settle that idea or thought with us, even think about or decide whether we agree with it or not? For a long time, I was literally consuming those educational contents, not necessarily academic, but which are basically aligned with my own interests, like philosophy, psychology, whatever. And I thought like I was becoming more knowledgeable. Like, I do have the access to these ideas. I know that. So saving the ideas, saving the Substack article, I was thinking that I was doing well. Maybe in some ways I was, because I would be going back to them every now and then and reading something if I wanted to. But I felt like every day I was exposed to new ideas, new beliefs, new concepts, perspectives, or conversations. Based on them, I could tell you what was happening everywhere, from starting from X to literal Medium. I was collecting insights faster than I was processing it. I literally had opinions I hadn't examined, conclusions I hadn't arrived at myself, but I wasn't even giving myself time to sit down and think about, what do I think about it? Should I be even interested in this at all or not? That's when I started wondering, like, how much of what I think is actually coming from my own ideas. I thought a shared idea can sound really true, feel extremely intelligent, and become very popular too, right? But none of them means that you have actually wrestled with it, or like given the time to it that it deserves. When people talk about endless scrolling, they usually talk about the attention spans. I agree that it definitely affects. I was getting really horrible at processing my emotions. Let's say I just watched a reel about something very satirical, right? And then I just suddenly watch a reel about how Sylvia Plath or like Kafka is literally for teenagers. Those are different domains of my personality, right? But I didn't spend enough time with any of them, and those are being fed into my subconscious for sure. I am using my mental energy, even subconsciously, right? And after those long hours, I feel extremely exhausted, and that's just normal. But I think there's another loss hiding underneath as well. Like, we are losing the time to sit with one singular thought. The ability to sit with an idea without immediately replacing it, the ability to encounter a question and leave it unanswered for a while, the ability to be uncertain, Because uncertainty is uncomfortable. I agree. I totally agree with it. It makes me really anxious, and the internet is remarkably good at resolving it. Every question can be followed by a video, every doubt can be interrupted by another opinion, every pause can be filled. How amazingly accessible everything is, which means we're rarely like forced to remain in the company of our own thoughts. Maybe that's more significant than we realize. And I couldn't stand the fact that like I was losing my memory due to it, because like I couldn't remember what I just watched in the previous reel unless it was a thirst trap. The paradox is like we have access to more knowledge than ever before, right? Yet we feel extremely dumb. Like, because and honestly, I feel very distant from the ideas that I'm interested in. I know I have 4 to 5 interests, right? I have all these mediums or system built up for myself on Instagram, Substack, Medium, X, wherever you name it, YouTube. Everything is very beautifully curated and systemized or designed for me to be enriched in ideas or interests that I give a damn about, even books. I have very less empty spaces in my life right now. As a result, even though I read this article, even though I read this book or story, even a manhwa, I do not have the time to sit with it and honestly figure out how it made me feel. What was my takeaway from this? What do I think about it? And not a collective opinion of what the internet thinks. I think we are somehow losing originality in this way, because like we consume a lot, we don't reflect as much that we should be doing. As I'm not giving enough time for my subconscious to like digest what I just took in and form my own opinion, we are just losing parts of ourselves. And at one point I feel like it also interrupts your identity as well, since you do not have fully formed insights about different topics. You yourself can't even decide like which one to choose or what aligns more with you. Everything is unfinished, fragmented. And I think we've become very good at like collecting information or obtaining information as like prize pieces rather than letting it form anything for ourselves. We've become very impatient. Why are we in the state of novelty all the time? The more I think about it, the less I feel like scrolling itself is the problem. What the hell is going on? I don't know. The story might be what scrolling really replaces, maybe just the uncertainties. Our thoughts are not necessarily unfinished, they are, I feel like, more interrupted. And it always leaves us in a state of agitation, more anxious. I don't think this is something that we realize quite often. It feels normal, at times even productive, until you try to recall what actually stayed with you from everything you saw in a day. We're so obsessed with this question like we are overthinkers. What are we overthinking actually? I think we're underthinking.